Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning, everybody.
Greetings from Clearwater.
I'm having so much fun with this board, kind of figuring out all the stuff. It's really fun.
And we're based on popular request and a lot of strong arming from our COO. We're
We're
camera
here.
ready this morning.
So I was thinking about this earlier that you know how we have friends that are doing like 75 hard, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Bill Elizondo and Brett Buick and a few others.
And the most I could commit to was 75.
Well, I'm doing my own version of 75 hard.
Oh, yeah.
Is that I'm going to be camera ready.
Oh. What?
For the next 75 days.
You better allow for time zones.
Yeah, I might be rough.
You heard it here.
I may be rough. Because we will be spending much of we're like around Thanksgiving. We're gonna be
Central Time.
And then we go to Mountain Time, which means 7 a.m. for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like my sleep.
Well, listen. Just remember, our Mountain Time friends it's always 7 a.m.
I know.
for them
so
to be the morning show.
You're welcome to join us.
But then again,
you don't have to be on camera though.
They're probably not wearing pants when they're listening at 7 a.m.
Exactly. So that's kind of what we're So this
Wesley
may be a
Chapel.
theme. Yeah.
I didn't know, George. I didn't remember that was Wesley Chapel.
I knew you were in Florida, but
we know we know a good place to get a smoked old fashioned
out there. Yeah. Grillsmith.
So let's pick that for a spot to meet George.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let's do that.
And good morning, Tommy in Pennsylvania.
All right.
Yeah. If you're listening in, Hugo Sanchez in South Texas. Right. And please say hello. Let us know where you're listening from.
Yeah.
And maybe let us know if you're wearing pants. We just, it's just fun. No. What?
I'm wearing a dress, so I guess I could say I'm not wearing pants.
I don't.
But
these pajamas. Let us know kind of what your attire is for the morning show. We got a lot of fun stuff.
Wait a second. You know what we're doing here is we need to stop sharing for a second because I think everybody. Not sure. Okay.
We're good. We're good on audio.
So. I think we're good.
Chiming in and saying hello.
All right.
So. Pittsburgh. Good morning. That's the first time we've heard from Pittsburgh.
Great job, Josh. Pants on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, he's Eastern time zone. Yeah. He's got an advantage. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So it's we're having fun with this morning show thing, and we're also really energized about today's topic. And I put a shout out. He's probably still just finding his way to the coffee pot in California. Tim Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
BHPH shared something on social media. We saw it on LinkedIn, and the thing is from Simon Sinek, and it's quite good. We're followers of Simon Sinek anyway.
Like big followers. We usually when we are chatting. When we're talking to new dealers that we're working with, and it's like, you need some good inspiration in the day.
Yeah.
This is a great, so smart.
Yeah.
And I think we've presented his golden circle a couple of times.
Yeah, we've talked about that for sure.
Yeah, really.
And we've talked about it in some of our presentations. So I saw your comment there, George. We're familiar.
Really
and that's where I had my first smoked old fashioned. Grillsmith, Wesley Chapel, Florida.
And what did we have with our smoked old fashions?
Key lime pie with macadamia nut crust, and it's outstanding.
It's like they took it another 3 steps
I think
with the macadamia
I think I just figured out what I'm doing with my Friday.
So I don't know. I know that they've got a few grillsmiths around in Florida. I don't know if it's outside of the state, but if you're in Florida, and you like to eat, try to find a grillsmith. Smoked old fashions, take a picture, share it with us on social media, and key lime pie. Again, take a picture, share it with on social media. It's super, super good.
Sure. So shall we get to our thing? We got, do we have any announcements today? Jared Halstead is going to be with us on Friday, Arizona.
Yeah.
And so those of you who know Jared, you know how much fun he is. And we have some fun things to talk about coming off of the leadership symposium that they just did very successfully in Austin.
All the feedback so great.
So we're going to talk about that and talk about all the other stuff that lies ahead for state associations and national. And so, yeah, don't miss Jared Halstead on Friday.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And I think we've got, let me take a quick peek at our calendar. Next week, I think we already have Monday. Amanda Sanchez will be joining us on Monday too.
Nice.
Yes. So we just really like her.
We have some cool friends. You know what?
We do.
How is it that two uncool people end up with so many cool friends? That just doesn't make sense.
There's another pitch for go to your conferences.
Yeah.
Because then you meet some of the coolest people.
And by the way, awesome. EO out in with LHPH Capital, you said Tim's cool, but we think you're pretty cool too.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't get a chance.
No, I didn't get a chance to meet her in person.
So we've communicated via email and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So back to what we were going to talk about. Simon Sinek, Golden Circle. We've used that in some of our presentations. We also is like, if you guys follow anyone, he's one of the three that we, especially the top two, would be Donald Miller with story branding. So if you're looking for a way to communicate with your customer, this is really a beautiful way of being able to communicate with your customer, where your customer is the hero instead of you.
Yeah, and just the whole storytelling part of that is we think is really helpful to Buy Here Pay Here in particular.
So, and then Simon Sinek has just got such a beautiful way of like what the Golden Circle is about. He brings in the example of Apple, where it's like you talk about your why first, and then you talk about your what it is that you plan to accomplish with it, and then it's like, and by the way, we sell cars.
Right.
So yeah, it's good stuff. Really good stuff.
Is.
Okay.
So Simon,
we have
you got it queued up?
Well, I've got it queued up, but you want to tell him about Tim? You already said something about it?
Yeah, I just explained it. We saw it that Tim had shared it. Glad to know that Tim is also a follower. Because Simon Sinek is, widely known and a great thought leader and coach, and so he's somebody we see pretty routinely. And Tim shared something this morning from Simon, and when I saw it and listened to the little 3-minute video, I was like, wow, that's so poignant. It's like a really condensed version of the things that we think about, talk about, we imply in our own business. And so, this you can roll
so I just a little Jim got up before I did. And so I kind of roll out of bed and he's just like, I sent you something. I'm like, what did you send me? He says, I sent you a link to Tim's post on LinkedIn. And he's like, I want you to watch it because I want to use it this morning. And I was like, okay. So I watched it, and through the whole thing, I'm looking up going, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is really, really awesome. Okay. So enough of the hype up for the thing. So we're going to play the video, or it's on YouTube. We're going to play it for you. If you guys want the link or something later on,
we'll share the link.
We'll share the link. But and so we're listening. We kind of talked about kind of playing it. I don't know if we're going to play it again, because this is all new to me, all this technology stuff for this. So, all right. So let's go ahead and add that to the stream, and then we're going to
remove that banner.
Oh, I do want to remove the banner. Sorry. Hold on just a quick second. Brand.
You guys you get to see us learning the stuff as we do it.
Okay.
Do you remember what we said?
Done
is better than perfect.
Done is better than perfect. Okay, so let's go.
Purpose is always idealized, right? Like, as I said before, I imagine a world in which, right? I know I'm not going to get there. Like when Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, like one day little black children will hold hands on the playground with little white children, right? Like all of these things, they're all strivings. And the milestones that we pass make us feel like we're making progress. And that's why metrics are really important and milestones are really important. And the most important thing is context. There's nothing wrong with quarterly numbers or annual numbers. The only question I would ask is, to what end? To what end? Like, I was talking to a young entrepreneur last night, and she's looking for investment. And one of her potential investors said, how long is it going to take you to hit $100 million revenues? And I said, don't take that person's investment. Show me one article, one. I just need one. Show me one article in HBR, one study, I don't care, that demonstrates that hypergrowth or high-speed growth is good for the company on any level? The answer is there are none. The pressure comes from that person trying to achieve their financial goals. So they put pressure on you to make your short-term goals, right? And so there's nothing wrong with goals as long as we understand the context and the purpose of that goal, right? I like to think of money like fuel, right? And a car is the company, and the purpose is the destination, right? And if money is fuel, it makes the car go. You absolutely have to have money to make the company go. There is no dreaming big if you have no fuel. You can have the most beautiful car in the world, and yet if you got no fuel, it's pointless. But we don't own a car to buy fuel, right? We don't have companies simply for the money, right? It's the destination. You want to be able to go somewhere. And the passengers are the employees, and they're excited, not about the fuel in the car. How much fuel do we have? No one gets excited by that. We get excited where we're going. We're going to Alaska. Are we near? And that's the analogy. And when there's a roadblock, if you're only driven by the metrics, then the way we think about money, the way we think about corporate goals is the same way we think about our goal is to drive 200 miles a day. Our goal is to make X amount of money, right? That's how we think about it. Well, what happens if you drive 150 miles? Is that a problem? What happens if there's a roadblock? Do you know what to do? You start freaking out and panicking because you're going to miss your numbers. Where purpose-driven companies that know their destinations in the idealized state, they take detours. And to the outside world, it looks like you're going sideways or slowly, but you know you're just going around. And that's how companies actually look. You know, it's circuitous and messy. And purpose helps us keep focused on the very far distant future, so we know we're going in the right vector, even if somebody can't tell we're going in the right direction. And so people have to understand the purpose of the goals you're setting and how they're contributing to something. And start talking, like we and our P&L, I don't have the word profit on my P&L. It doesn't exist. On my P&L, it says freedom. I damn well want more freedom this month than I had last month, right? Freedom to say no to things I don't want to do, freedom to give it away, freedom to take care of my people. I want freedom because profit means nothing. So I'm trying to contextualize all of these words that have no inherent magic to them. So yeah, think of money like fuel, and fuel drives your purpose. Be purpose-driven and talk about the place you're trying to get to and talk about the world that you imagine. And you damn well better make a lot of fuel to get there because it's going to be expensive and it's going to take a long time.
Wow.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, and I hope everybody was able to hear that well. And again, we'll share the link so you can listen again. But oh yeah, Hugo, we did call Amanda cool. She's super cool.
Yeah, she is super cool. So, you know, one, there's so much meat on the bone with this. Fantastic. You know, one of the things is like we just did a presentation where we talked about what are you building a car, and you know, and so it was like, that was one of the things, like, this is so fantastic. The other thing is, you know, we frequently chat with dealers, and it's like one of the first questions we ask them, it's like, so what do you want to do? And you know, we'll hear, I want to sell. I want 500 accounts on my books. Okay, why? Why?
Right.
Well, because that would, you know, I just, it's gonna bring in the money to do the stuff. It's like, well, what's the stuff? Well, it's going to allow me to, you know, and it's like, we love to just dig. It's like, we're just digging a little bit deeper. And it's funny because some people, when it's the first time that they've kind of been ever asked anything like that, because usually it's like, so what are your goals? And it's all metrics driven. It's all money driven. It's like, I want to make this kind of profit. I want to be able to do this many accounts. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. And it's all very, very structured. You know, that whole thing where he's talking about, we want to drive 200 miles today, every day. And if we don't, then for some reason, a lot of times when we talk, it's like, we've failed or we have if we didn't do it,
Setback.
but it's like figure out what that end goal is and then move towards that. I mean, like, what's your why? Why do you want 5? What will it bring you? It'll, da 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 da. It's like, what'll it bring you? And for most people, it's like, I want freedom. That's what it kind of boils down to.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even really know that's the end game or the destination. Like that's what we're really trying to introduce, especially to this segment. I've been fortunate in my career to be involved in some other businesses and meet some really fantastic entrepreneurs and influencers and people that are really change makers. And it just helps me to bring a lot of that to our dealer clients because we just find that, there are plenty of folks out there teaching what Michelle and I call straight lines, policies and procedures, black and white, business planning, strategy. There are plenty of folks out there doing that. I think where Michelle and I have gotten quite comfortable is in this space of, working with dealers on a little higher plane, if you will. It's like being able to go beyond the black and white that is a business plan and a strategy. And listen, just like Simon said, look, the metrics matter, the milestones matter, but you need context. We need to, and we need purpose behind what we do. And one thing I thought about, Michelle, is like, we talk about this and we see dealers out there struggling to hire, right? We see them having a hard time creating a team and building any kind of real culture, any kind of commitment from their people and any loyalty. And I can't think of anything they could do better, especially with the younger generation. Now, we can ignore this, but if we continue to ignore this, the younger generation is not just about pay. They want some sense of purpose in what they're doing. And when we can figure that out, which means we first, as the leader of our business, as the visionary, which is really, that's the first place I heard chief visionary officer was Steve Jobs, which, we talked about Simon Sinek refers to Apple as a company that this purpose driven kind of company. Well, the same thing can be true with us. Like we can be that kind of visionary in our business. So the other coach that we refer to is, I'm drawing a blank, our guy, Vivid Vision.
Cameron Harold. Yes.
So it's another coach we talk about and we kind of refer to their material. And a lot of our clients, we introduce them to this material because we feel like it happens often. And I say it in our presentations that often I meet a dealer and they're asking these questions at the beginning. You and I meet the people and they'll say, where should I set my pricing? Or where should I, all the questions that are common from a dealer that many of us are asking out there on Facebook, day in and day out. And we kind of run it through a lens of, well, who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? So in this case, what's your destination?
Yeah.
Like where do you want to end up? So this is what the Vivid Vision thing is all about, is helping dealers as business owners get real clarity about where they want to end up, because that now you've got something you can get people excited about. Just like the whole thing about nobody gets excited about how much gas is in the tank. Now as a dealer, that's our positive cash flow. That's our profit. But what you heard him say is he's replacing the word profit with what? Freedom. Doesn't even say profit on his balance or on his P&L rather. And so this is all part of what Michelle and I are excited to introduce. And it's no accident that we're bringing this on a White Hat Wednesday, because we think this is really where we have a chance to make a difference, in this industry, is just by helping dealers start to think about the long game, think about destination. It's not that we're not creating business plans. It's just that business plans and, what we traditionally have done is in mission statements. It's like, it's helpful, but there's more to be done. There's more, and it really helps drive culture. It helps drive, our ultimate success, because everybody can see it. They can buy into it. They can get excited about it. And our ability to deal with the setbacks at a management level is much better when we all know where we're going. Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. There were a couple of things from this that I, you mentioned hiring issues, and we talk to a lot of dealers out there that are like, oh, we need to hire, especially like techs and all that, which is another thing we can talk about when we're done. So hiring issues, and what I would propose is, Jim talked about the younger generation. It's a different pool that we draw from now. I mean, COVID really changed the genetics of the pool. It created a fundamental shift in the pool of people that we hire.
Yeah.
And I would propose that that we consider that when we bring people into our organizations, into our team, into our our dealerships or whatever, that the younger generation, this is and I don't have numbers to back this, but this is just like what I've observed, is that they want not just a paycheck but a purpose. And that it's important for them to be able to pay their bills and and make good money, but how you keep them is you give them a purpose.
Right.
You give them a purpose that is bigger than themselves and their dealership.
Yeah.
And just a purpose. What is it that we are trying to accomplish as a business?
Sure.
And that when they feel like this, the younger generation, it's like they really love being involved with something that's bigger than themselves. We used the example of Chick-fil-A a while back, and this is like a lot of younger people, all of that. Even during COVID, they may have shut down their dining room, but they seemed like they were staffed, they were open, and they were happy.
Were they?
Well, they always have this like, yeah, but one thing that when we've talked about Chick-fil-A is that Chick-fil-A is a purpose-driven company too. And it's not just about having great chicken. They are actively involved. And so when people get hired on to Chick-fil-A, it's like they know they're part of something bigger than just making a chicken sandwich. You watch their ads and you can see that. How often when you see their ads on television, is it about, we're having a special, get a 2-for-1 chicken sandwich?
Right.
It never is. It's about how their team members are impacting community.
Right.
And who's the hero in every one of their ads is the customer.
Yeah.
It's not Chick-fil-A, it's the customer. And then it's like, yeah.
And that's a pretty hard connection to make. They are pretty successful with it, but it's a pretty hard connection to make, how I become the hero buying a chicken sandwich. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think in our line of work, it's much easier. Like, back in April, we were invited to speak at BHPH United Summit, and they asked us to speak on sell the program, not the car. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if we tie that to what we're talking about with personnel, if I'm a young or just anybody, if I come to work for a business, I want to make a paycheck. I need to make a living. I need to provide for my family. However, I also love the idea of being able to walk through my community with my head held high.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen.
So
that thank you.
Right.
That actually, one of the things when we talk to new dealers is we put them through this exercise, or we ask them to do this exercise. And some of them is just like, here's something that you might want to consider doing, which is it's a Cameron Herald kind of thing, vivid vision, but it ties into all of this. Is we ask them, all right, if you were to meet, go to the grocery store, pick up a gallon of milk, and some of you might have heard this before, and it's okay. It's worth repeating. Pick up a gallon of milk at the grocery store, a long day at work, and you run into someone who bought a car that day from your dealership with the assumption that they know that you own the dealership. And so what does that conversation sound like in the grocery store? One, are you saying, hey, weren't you in the dealership today?
Right.
Or are you, just trying to not pay, or did they have an experience where it's like, hey, don't you own that dealership that I just went to today? It was such a great okay.
Right.
One, that's the first thing that you draw that out. What does that look like? The second one is you run into that same person 3 or 4 years, however long the term of the contract is. You run into that same person and you grocery store, same thing. Your family goes through a lot of milk.
Right.
and you say, and what does that conversation sound like?
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe want you, like, this is a customer that has, that they went through a hiccup here, a roadblock here, whatever it is here, but they saw the contract to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you just either put them in a new car or you just, signed over the title. What does that conversation sound like? That is where you start with creating your purpose. How do you want that experience to be for the new buyer and the one that's finished their contract? Because that's the filter for all the decisions that you make going forward.
And you talk about it in the context of the dealer, because that's who we work with when we're out there with clients. We're working primarily with the dealer, but the same would be true for the salesperson or,
Absolutely.
somebody working in the service department. I mean, if you bump into the customer, are you happy to see them? Are they happy to see you? Don't we want to feel good about?
Do you see them
that
down the aisle and you go a different direction?
Or even if it's not your customer, if it's
Yeah.
just somebody in the community and they recognize you from a Facebook ad or a TV commercial, what do they think about you? What do they think you're salesy and trying to get in their pocket? Or do they think, you know what I mean? It's like, how do we, if we're really playing the long game, and Shelley, piped in with purpose. Yeah, that's definitely what it's about. It's like creating that purpose, because we feel like that lets us have a North Star in our business. It's like we can build everything else on that. And so all of the stuff, all the milestones that Simon talked about, metrics, whether it's, certain targets, objectives, all those things are in the context of our overarching purpose.
Yep.
And that helps us to be more consistent. Like, it helps us to create top-down culture that is going to make our business healthier, more sustainable. It's going to create longevity in our team.
Yep.
We're going to cut down on our turnover when we create that sort of environment. And we just know it's entirely possible. And we're not saying nobody out there's doing it. We're just saying that it's not as common as we want it to be. And we think when dealers learn how to really tap into this and create that, then they're going to feel better. They're going to feel more confident in their own day-to-day decision-making.
Yep.
Like, that's the big one for me. He talks about, having some clarity about the direction. When you have a little setback, you step sideways for a day or two. But when you have that clarity about where you're going, then it helps you make the decision. It helps you know, how do I make this decision?
Yep.
So this is why, Michelle and I often find ourselves asking dealers, what's the end game? Like,
what do you want? How do you want to be known? And we ask ourselves that all the time. All the time. All the time. I mean, it's like a daily, weekly thing. We're asking, what do we want? And how do we want to be known? And so choices are made based on that. And so, it's like the whole thing. People keep, we get asked all the time, how do you guys make money?
Yeah. Oh, we're supposed to make money.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, we've seen that this is about making a difference. And that we know, because we're very clear about what our purpose is and where we're going, we know that finances just flow. I mean, it's just going to happen. It's going to happen because, it's like we're adding value and we're helping people be better, and it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it does. And
yeah. And in the meantime, do you know of any two people that enjoy more freedom than you and I enjoy?
Oh my gosh. No.
I mean, it's
no. And we had dinner last night with Greg King and his wife, Christy.
Christy.
And
so fun. They're
so great people.
Great people.
And we were like, we have decided that we're just going to name ourselves gypsies.
Yeah.
And, it's like, that's so cool. It's like, well, this is what we choose, and we can, and we do. And
so if anybody's got a school bus we can paint up,
we want to do it like the Partridge Family.
Yeah.
Just
beads.
joking.
We're going to do beads and the whole thing.
Michelle's not doing that again. I loved the year and a half on the road, but yeah. So to kind of wrap up, I hope you guys enjoyed that, watching that video of Simon Sinek, and it's about purpose and goals. And so watch it again. We really encourage you. We'll add the link to these broadcasts after they go into social media as recordings. And so watch that. And it's something that Jim and I just this morning, he brought it to me, but I've watched it a couple of times, and it's like, oh, this is really, really rich. So parting words, always learn. Always be looking to learn. Always, 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 whether it be through a book or through a podcast or through a YouTube something, through a good conversation. Always be learning, and always strive to be better.
Yeah. And by having this purpose that we're talking about, helps us be better leaders in our businesses, and whether that's a dealer or a manager, and in our communities. That's true. So yeah, I think this is that's probably enough for today. I think we can.
Okay. So that wraps up that part. Where I was, Jim just recorded a podcast on Monday with Brent Carmichael. Those of you guys who know Brent, he's such a powerhouse in the buyer payer space. And so he just recorded a podcast with him, and it's about shop or not to shop. So I'm not talking about going to TJ Maxx or Nordstrom's and spending money. I'm talking about a service center.
Yeah.
So
good conversation. So we'll get that released in the next week or two here, but look for that. We just took on in this hardest question series, we recorded yesterday or Monday, the conversation around, should I have a service department? If I'm a dealer and new dealer, how do I make a judgment about whether I should have my own lifts and techs and my own service department? So a good, again, rich conversation. We invite you to find that. And Brent has all the answers. So
it's
happy to bring it.
He's an awful lot of fun. Yeah. All right. So everybody, happy Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you do, get on YouTube and click like and subscribe to our channel there as well. That kind of helps us get a little bit more viewership, because we're trying to be able to really get in front of people that it can help. And so the more you guys help us, the more it can help other dealers. And so really, really appreciate all of you listening today, and hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. And we will see
Jared Halstead on Friday.
Halstead on Friday.
Amanda Butler Sanchez
on Monday. So have a great week, and we will see you in a couple of days.
And you're cool too, Hugo.
Up.